Hello and welcome to another edition of Luthier's Lair. This is part 3 of project Babitar 25.5. What's 25.5? Well, it's the scale length of this bass guitar. Not 34, not 30 and a half, not 30, and not 28, but 25.5. Yes, indeed, yes. We're at the stage now where I'm pretty happy with it structurally. There needs to be a couple of adjustments, and we'll see that in this episode, and we'll also see the fitting of the electronics in the actual bass itself, pickups, and the harness, and of course it's a passive bass to start with. It will be 2 volume, 1 tone, 2 pickups, single coil, and yeah, kind of like a jazz bass type deal. So let's get on with it. Let's go and see if we can get some sounds out of this thing. And of course it won't be finished or anything, there's no wood filler or anything like that in it. I'm just proving the concept that I can get a decent sound out of a bass that's 25.5 inches in scale. Let's go. Clear the throat. Yes. So what has arrived today is the bridge pieces that I was talking about. These are separate saddle harnesses here, and I can put any spacing I like really for a bridge using these. And of course, once I've trimmed out all the frets on the fretboard there and got the neck into shape, I will install the neck and work out just exactly where laterally I need to put these. Of course, they do have intonation adjustment on each individual one. I'm going to look at the travel of the intonation on them before I decide where to situate each one. Now, I would like them square, I really would. I mean, if you have a multi-scale fretboard, then you have to have them sort of offset because each individual string has a different scale length. But that's not the case with this one, although I do plan to do something like that. So I've never used these on a bass before. I've used individual pieces, but the math should be relatively simple. You know, I have a centre line here, and I just need to work out the spacing in between each 3, actually, just that space, and that space, above and beyond the centre line, and then everything follows from there. So only a couple of measurements needed, but they better be damn accurate, and I better have the bass assembled and laying out and put some wire across there to act as strings so that I know where everything is, and make everything, you know, as centred as possible, so I don't get any intonation problems, fret buzz problems, stuff like that. But this is a nice, reasonable bit of kit. Didn't cost too much. This is a prototype, so I went for lower end ones. You know, I don't want to break the bank, you know, if this project doesn't pan out. But so far it's looking good. The frets went in nicely. I know my machining is good on the fretboard, stuff like that. So let's crack on and get this sized up. Awesome. Yes. Yes. So yeah, fretboard's done. Frets are basically sound. There's still some little sharp edges on it. They're not crowned yet, not polished yet. Don't need to do that. What I do need to do is fit the nut, which I just did. With some cyano, you can knock that off easily. Properly fit the tuning machines. As you can see, I've got them swept back in a kind of sweepy backy look, you know, go faster stripes, that sort of stuff, you know. And so yeah, I've got that in place. So they're all attached, everything's nicely attached. The next thing that I want to do is start figuring out where I'm going to put these bridge saddles. You know? It says work holding kit on that. It's a reused baggie. I reuse baggies all the time. And we're not going to use a neck plate for this. We're going to use ferrules. So we'll use ferrules. I pre-drilled the ferrules, and I'm going to work that into the tool path of the CNC machine. And of course, like I said at the beginning, this bass guitar is going to have lipstick pickups in it. That'll go right there, you know. Yes, so let's put this back so I don't lose anything. Okay. I'm not going to fit the pickups or anything right now, or electronics or anything like that. This is purely mechanical. I'll get the bridge in place once I bolt the neck on and measure everything up. And then I'll have a reference to where to put the bridge. Then I'll measure that, and then I can maybe even tool path that out in the CNC. And you know, this is all part of prototyping. You know, you have an idea in your mind. How it comes together is usually a different story. You know, so yeah. So what we're going to do is get this, and we'll put that in there. Of course, that's not a tight neck pocket because there's no pocket there on this design. I'm just looking for something to support the neck here. There we go. A pencil eraser will do the trick. Okay, so got that there. Going to bolt the neck on, ferrules in, everything, and then we're going to measure where the strings should go on this model of bass. I do have an idea because I worked out the math, but I'll see if I'm right. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's get it done. Okay, neck in place. As you can see, I've used ferrules instead of a neck plate. Looks a bit more attractive. Obviously a prototype, and I would never use this pine again as long as I live for a body. It's a different sort of pine, but that's okay. You know, prototype. It'll hopefully still be playable. Down this end, of course, you can see the headstock. Everything in place there. Yes, indeed. Back here, and let's turn the body over. Flippity flip flop. There you go. Ready for measuring everything up. Getting the lines in place. That will secure the saddles. So, let's go and do that. Okay, I've got my two fake strings in place. Blue taped to the tuning heads. And if I follow that down, all the way down, that's the spacing I want from the edges of the E, let's say, and the G, and then right down to there. That's where I want the bridge. Shifted slightly, actually, I can see towards the left now. That's fine. Just a hair. That'll be cool. And that will be central. Looking good. So let's go and make the marks. And let's start drilling holes. Yes, indeedy. Okie dokie then. So I put a nice piece of hardwood veneer shim underneath the nut, straight onto the headstock, and that was able to raise the nut just enough, and even a little bit more, so I've got something to play with. I'll get out my 20 thou feeler gauge here. That just slides under there now, and that's perfect. Actually, it might be a little high, but that's okay. Like I said, I can file down the nut slots there, so perfect. That's what I'm going for. So I've taken a note of that dimension, and that will go into my next iteration of the drawing. Moving further down here to the truss rod cavity, it was too narrow to get an Allen wrench in there, or a hex key, whatever you want to call it. I got two sizes here. There's one that's longer here and one shorter here. The stubby now fits perfectly. There you go. And even the longer one fits in. It's perfect. And can be adjusted. Bang on. As you can hear, there's no fret buzz at all now. I actually did a quick setup on this. I did a setup on it. And the neck was too straight, so I gave it some relief, a little bit of a back bow. That worked great. That enabled me to get strings down to about between 4 and 5 64ths of an inch at the 17th fret, right there. Perfect. It was really nice low action. Okay. I'm not bothered about intonation right now. I skipped that. But what I wanted to do then was test the frets. So one 13th fret, buzzing slightly, but the rest of them are fine. There's a slight buzz on the 5th as well, so it looks like the 13th and the 5th. I ran through it before. It looks like that's the only frets that are slightly buzzing. I'm having a look at the height of them. Yeah, the 5th. The 5th might not be seated properly, or the 13th, so I'm going to tap them down a bit. And if I still get the slight buzz, I'm not worried at all. The rest are really perfect. I haven't even got to the stage where I'm crowning and polishing the frets anyway. So I'm really happy with that. I think the next thing to do now, since this is all fairly well proven, is to install pickups and electronics. And I'll need to make up a little harness. I'm going to go with the volume tone passive for this bass, like a jazz bass, with single coil. These are single coil lipstick noiseless pickups, and they're going to go in there, and of course all grounded, except for I'm not going to put shielding in right yet as well. I just want to prove this concept that it makes a noise. If it does, then I'm going to have to drill a hole from one of these bridge saddles to the control cavity, and I'm going to have to shield everything. Now, these bridge cavities should really be all connected together, so what I'll do is I'll lie a piece of copper tape underneath them all, so they all make contact with each other. Then from this last one, I'll run a wire, which will be compressed by the bridge, through into the control cavity. Obviously I've got to drill that through with a long drill bit, and this, and then of course drill the hole for the output jack, which I'm planning to put about here. That'll be fine, and that'll be it. I'll just install everything. We'll go from there. We can see we can get a noise out of this thing. Maybe a crap noise. We'll see. Sorry, that was really awful, wasn't it? Yeah, well, pickups are fitted, and the pickup rings too, looking quite splendid. There is a problem, however. Yes, there always is in a prototype, and I'll quickly show you what it is. It's nothing major. but I'll describe what it is. You'll see it immediately. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, so here's the body. It is a throwaway body after all, yes. And everything looks nice, you know, it looks really quite swile, as they would say in the 50s here. The problem is, when I went to fit the control cap, what happened was I had engineered lugs for the screws to go in, but I didn't bring them out enough. I was scared in case I didn't have any room for, like, if I wanted to use fat pots in here. I'm going to have to go with the slimline potentiometers, so I've ordered them. I have the fat pots, not going to be any good for this. The screw holes are barely in there. So, you know, I could go ahead and put epoxy all over this, strengthen it, and then the screw holes would be fine. Or, because it's a throwaway body, just go with it and see how it works out, you know. The body's good. The neck, the body is throwaway. The neck is behaving spectacularly. So I'm going to keep this neck. But the body's always been kind of a throwaway body, throwaway wood. Just for the experience, to try and get this into specification. But this looks really nice. I've still got the plastic on the pickups and stuff like that. So I'm waiting for these potentiometers. I have everything else, you know, to make up electronics. So it should be in later today, and we'll see what's what. Awesome. Okay, here we are then. I got the harness made up. Just have the pickups to hook up. It's the hot for the neck, hot for the bridge. They're still to be done. I've got extension leads in there because I don't want to take all the wire away right now. This is a temporary assembly of the electronics. So the harness is done. Standard jazz bass style harness. Volume and tone. Volume neck, volume bridge, tone. And there we go. Leaving the leads kind of nice and long. This is common here to this white and bare wire and that white and bare wire. They all get tied together. And of course these two pickups will be hooked up. And that should be done. So it's temporary solder these together. You know. Then we'll see what this thing sounds like. If I'm happy with the sound, then fine. We'll go ahead and we'll strip it all down. I'll put some sort of finish on the body. I still don't like this wood. But yeah, there you go. Now, there's two options here. I can keep hold of this prototype for future reference, or, you know, maybe just auction it off. Or actually a third option is to, since the neck is behaving very well, keep the neck and just keep this body for reference in the future and make a new body. The rear scallop behind the neck is going to get a lot deeper than what it is there, and we'll go from there. Let's see what it sounds like, shall we? Brilliant. Okay folks, as you can see, I've just temporarily tacked these wires together, and we're going to see if we can get a sound out of the pickups. And I'll use a metal object to just lightly tap on the pickups to see if we're getting sound. So I will plug this in, turn on El Crapo bass ampo, we're on, make sure these are up maximum, yeah, and let's see what we get. Hooray, it's alive! Yep, let's turn down the neck pickup. Yep. Turn down the bridge pickup. It's a bit scratchy, that pot. It's an old one. Okay. Yep. Turn up the neck pickup. So that's me just messing with this. It's not shielded yet. Yep. and turn up the bridge pickup. We have working electronics. So now, I'm not going to shield anything, of course. We're just testing this out. I won't put insulating or gaffer tape around this electrical tape because it gums up. As you can see, nothing's really shielded yet. I'll put some blue painter's tape on there that will hold the insulation from the wires just enough that I can test out the sound and stuff. If I'm happy with it, and we'll strip it all down again. So, let's go put some strings on it and get all this housed. Okay, let's see if this bugger will make some noise. Plugged in. Let's switch on the crap bass amp. Turn all the controls up. Ooh, kinda sounds jazzy. Let's back pickup only. Front pickup only. Both pickups. No tone. Yep. So it works. That's fantastic news. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it all apart again, and we'll work out what sort of finish to put on it. Everything's in place here though, and it works really well. It's a bit too early in the morning right now to play it. I don't want to disturb anyone, but it works. Okay, onwards and upwards. Okay folks, that's it for part 3, I'm afraid. Yes, that's all we've got time for. Well, I do have time for some more, but you know, that'll be in part 4. And hopefully in part 4 we'll have a semi-finished product. Like I said before, I'm not going to really put an elaborate finish on this, and we'll see what happens in part 4. But for the time being, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for being here with me, and stay safe, be good, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers folks, bye bye.